I'm Nintendo.
And I'm Sega.
This is Console Wars! Man, I'm done trick-or-treating at that perverted old guy's house.
Oh yeah, I totally hear you. I mean, what a weirdo. Who still gives out candy corn?
Whatever, I just need a beer. Wait a minute, where'd all my beer go?
I think someone broke in and drank all your beer.
What? Not the pumpkin spice. I'm calling the police.
There. You know, when I'm sad, I like to sit on the couch and play the Sega.
Oh no!
Could you still play games? Have you saw a repairman? We'll play Streets of Rage. Let's go find a repairman. I know it's true. You're just a Model 2, but I still want to find you a repairman.
Hello? Police?
And, okay, let me make sure I got this right. While you two were out, someone drank some beer and broke your Sega.
Some beer? They drink almost all of it. I'll hook the last one up to a battery, in case they come back.
They didn't just break my Sega, they murdered it. I want this killer found. Okay, so after you saw the murdered Sega, how long did you two, massage each other, you know, for comfort?
What? We did not massage each other.
No grief massage? Do you not know, how to do it? I can show you. I did bring my, scented oils.
Seriously?
Why are you wasting our time? Unless he's the killer.
Wait, are you saying he's not really a cop?
No. What I'm saying is that's not even his real face. Let's find out who you really are. Oh, my freaking skin! Oh, God, that hurts. Do you mind? I'm freaking freezing off my bones here. Sorry about that. Yeah, you will be sorry. Now that I got a bone to pick with you. Hey, I didn't even plan that one.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it really got you on the funny bone, huh?
Yeah, okay, enough.
Hey, you don't appreciate my jokes after ripping my skin off? Then, good luck on solving the crime on your own. Officer Pastrami!
Wait, don't go. Why'd you do that?
Well, why not? They do it on Scooby Doo like all the time.
A cartoon is not real life.
I wasn't imitating a cartoon. That would be dumb. I was imitating the video game.
It was a fun game for the Super Nintendo.
No way, the Sega Genesis game was better.
You got a working Sega?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Scooby Doo is an American cartoon franchise. It was created by Joe Ruby and Ken Spears in 1969. It follows 4 teenagers and their talking dog as they solve mysteries. The franchise is still going strong today with various remakes, TV specials, direct-to-video films, feature films, and of course, video games.
There have been many Scooby Doo games made over the years. Today, we're looking at Scooby Doo Mystery, released by Acclaim. There was a Super Nintendo version developed by Argonaut Software, and a Sega Genesis version developed by Illusions Gaming Company. 2 very different games taking place in the world of Scooby Doo. Which one's better? Let's find out.
The game looks great for the Super Nintendo. Characters look just like they did on the cartoon. The enemies also have a look in keeping with the show. The levels are unique from one another. They each have a spooky look to them. The character animation is pretty smooth too. Easy win for Super Nintendo.
Sega Genesis game looks better.
My characters look just like they did on the show too. The enemies are just as good looking on Sega. My levels are beautifully detailed. Every place has such a distinct look. And and there's tons of character animations. It's almost like watching the cartoon. This is definitely the better looking game.
No way your game is better looking. Side by side, you can see how the colors pop on Super Nintendo. Everything is nice and clear. The Sega game looks a bit hazy. It's not as sharp as the Super Nintendo game.
Get your eyes checked. My game is way better looking.
Just look at the levels. The Sega game uses a fixed camera view. You view different areas from some pretty cool angles. And these areas are uniquely designed and have a different look from one another. A lot of effort went into this game. Then you have the SNES levels. The backgrounds are very bland and repetitive. It's so repetitive, it's easy to get lost in this game. Also, Sega has better character animations. Look at Shaggy Jump on Sega. And now on Super Nintendo. Yep. Bottom line, the Sega game has a more detailed world and better animations, with clearly more work put into it. The graphics go to Sega.
Super Nintendo's got a presentation. There's a lot of cutscenes in my game, before and after every mystery. The Super Nintendo game is great at storytelling.
Sega has all that too.
I have a bunch of cutscenes too. Intros, endings, and in-game cutscenes.
My game is so much. I'm sorry, I can't do this.
Do what?
I can't just sit here comparing video games. We should be out there figuring out who the killer is.
That's what we're doing.
I'm not gonna figure out any clues just by sitting on the couch.
Are you alright? I think the light fixture might have been loose.
Hey, there's something inside here. I think it's a clue.
Ah, probably the hammer used to smash up the Sega. Weird place to hide it.
Any idea whose it is?
No, I'm just gonna keep this here for safekeeping. Alright, we found the clue. Can we get back to comparing some games?
Yeah, sure.
Let's compare these presentations. I have amazing pictures of the characters when I use a map or look at plans. Something Sega doesn't have. When my characters talk, they use speech bubbles. Sega just puts the dialogue at the top of the screen. Plus, I have this funny credit sequence with all the people who worked on the game. You just have boring credits on Sega.
Boring credits? You must be desperate. My presentation is way better.
Once again, my game is just more animated. Look how my characters move when they talk. Now look how the SNES characters move. Yep. My cutscenes just have more work put into them. Here's the cutscene of the SNES characters talking in the van. It's just a van. And here's mine. The Sega game actually shows the characters with animations. Again, there's just more effort in my game. Presentation goes to Sega.
The Super Nintendo is the king of sound quality. We both know the Super Nintendo has the sound of... What are you doing?
Huh? Oh, I felt a draft. I think there might be a secret passage. I just haven't found the triggering device.
Triggering device?
How well do we know this place?
Okay, Indiana Jones, this isn't an Aztec temple. There's no secret passage.
Wanna bet?
That's gonna come out of our rent.
So what were you saying about sound?
I was saying the Super Nintendo has better voiceovers. Listen how clear they sound on Super Nintendo.
Groovy, the evil crown.
And here's the awful sounds of Sega. It's obvious. Super Nintendo has the better sound.
We didn't even compare music yet. How does the theme from the show sound on Super Nintendo?
Theme song?
You don't have the theme song?
One of the most recognized TV themes of all time, and the SNES doesn't have it? Sega game does. Also, the rest of the music on SNES is pretty bad. It's just some of the most boring video game music ever. The Sega music, on the other hand, has a nice spooky vibe. It has a bit of drive to it. And this song sounds like Iron Man. Even though my voiceovers are muddy, with actual TV theme and much better songs, sound goes to Sega.
Despite my losses, the Super Nintendo has better gameplay. The game plays like a platformer with mystery solving. You're not just about killing enemies. You need to find clues and items spread throughout the level in order to solve the mystery. You don't have a life bar. Instead, you have a fear meter that fills up when you encounter enemies. The other characters even aid you in your journey. There's also 2 mini-games to change things up for bonus points and items. All in all, a solid experience.
That's got nothing on the Sega game.
My game plays like a PC point-and-click adventure. It translates well to Sega. You can move your character, but you need to use a cursor in order to do anything else. You have a choice of commands to use on items and people. This game is heavy on the mystery solving. Items are spread throughout the game, and you need to figure out exactly how to use each item you acquire. There are no enemies, life bars, or lives in my game. All your focus is on the mystery solving, and the only thing that can end your game is if you give up. With such a unique game that captivates you, gameplay definitely goes to Sega.
Yeah, that's nice and all, but you're ignoring a lot of problems in your game. The PC-like controls are a bit awkward, and not being able to do anything unless you select a command can be tedious. The movement of the cursor is slow. Just using an item can take so much time. Another problem with your game is the difficulty. You're gonna get stuck in this game a lot. You won't know what to do. You can't progress until you use the right item or action. So you'll just be going back and forth hoping you figure something out. You'll be stuck trying to use ridiculous combinations of items, hoping you pick the right one so you can progress further in the game. And there are no hints or anything when you get stuck. You just have to figure it out. Also, items aren't easy to see. Some just look like part of the background and you would never think to take them.
Your game has a lot of problems too.
Let's start with this fear meter. It's an interesting concept, but it's awful in this game. All enemies have to do is slightly touch you, and it fills up. The problem is, it fills up way too fast, sometimes before you can even register an enemy is there, and there's no sound or visual to let you know that you're being hurt. You just need to make sure that your eyes are on that meter. And you can't even avoid some enemies, so that's incredibly unfair. Another problem is finding items in this game. It's not difficult, it's just incredibly tedious. These items stick out like a sore thumb. It gets boring exploring room after room trying to find these items. And some of them are right next to members of your team who constantly tell you to find items. Why can't they pick it up? Why are they making me do all this work? Some items are hidden, and you need Scooby to find them. But all this means is every time you enter a new area, you need to hold down X to search. Every new area, hold X to search. That's not fun. That's you doing tedious chores because the developers couldn't think of a better way to hide items. And your platforming, your attacks, some of the worst ever put into a game. The jumps have horrible accuracy, matched only by the horrible accuracy of the attacks. Nothing fun here.
Yeah, well, my game is still better than your game. My game is longer, with 4 mysteries to solve, while Sega only has 2. And let's talk about the password system. On Super Nintendo, it's a nice and easy 7-character combination. Want to guess how many characters you have to write down on Sega? 10? 15? 20? Nope. The correct answer is 50. 50 characters. Are you kidding me? Why would they make you sit down and copy all of that? Could you imagine copying that, then getting one character wrong? How mad would you be? 50 is just absurd. Couldn't they have used less characters or even a save system?
A few flaws aside, I definitely have the better game.
Scooby Doo at its core is about solving a mystery, and that's pretty much the entire Sega game. You find items and clues. You need to figure out how to use what's around you to solve the case. This game makes you think. This does mean a higher difficulty, but you really feel like you're solving things. The Super Nintendo game, on the other hand, is boring. You feel more like you're going through the motions in this game. It doesn't require much thinking or even effort. You just find the easy to get items, and your team takes care of the rest. You're just an errand boy picking up everything and avoiding getting hit. Because it's so easy, it's not really satisfying when you solve a mystery. You do feel satisfied when you solve something on Sega, and they even managed to fit in some of the humor from the show. There's not so much humor on the Super Nintendo. Again, there's just more effort put into the Sega game. You had to put in these mini games because your game is so boring. I mean, Whack-A-Mole? Really? For being a more satisfying game closer to the source material, gameplay goes to Sega. Both games have you solving crimes, but only one is better, and that game is Scooby Doo Mystery on the Sega Genesis. It has better graphics with great level design and character animations. The presentation is better with more detailed cutscenes. The sound is better too with the theme song and better music overall. The gameplay is also better with the more satisfying execution of mystery solving. The Sega game isn't perfect with a high difficulty and long password, but compared to the Super Nintendo game, it's much better. The Super Nintendo game feels lazy, it's boring and repetitive. The horrible platforming elements and enemies feel thrown in to make it somewhat challenging. Overall, not a fun game. Best Scooby Doo Mystery goes to Sega Genesis. Alright, now that we're done, can you admit it?
Admit what?
Admit you're the killer?
But I'm not.
Dude, I saw your name on the hammer.
Yeah, it's my hammer, but I didn't do it.
Well, if you didn't do it, who did?
My beer trap.
I can't believe that worked.
Trying to get my last beer, huh?
Let's find out who you really are. Our landlord.
Mr. Holes and Teeth.
Hey, I think I figured out this case. Was his house built on an ancient Indian burial ground?
Yeah, we found the killer.
It was our landlord.
Oh, well, never mind then.
I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you sexless console dorks.
So why'd you do it?
Because I like pumpkin spice.
Not the beer. Why'd you kill my Sega?
Oh, right. I did that because you two are constantly bickering about which one is better. Nintendo, Sega, Nintendo, Sega. I'm sick of it, so I took matters into my own hands.
So why didn't you also smash up the Super Nintendo?
Because I like Super Nintendo better. It's a much better console.
Whoa, whoa! Hold your horses there. The Sega Genesis has much better games.
Are you kidding? Just look at all the top exclusive titles for Nintendo.
You want to talk about exclusives? Let's start with Sonic.
Wow, that is pretty annoying.
Yeah.
If you
we
think
should
all he
just
does is go fast,
get along?
you never really
Yeah.
How can you even insult?
I just don't see how I can get my hands around that bulky controller.
Bulky controller. It's a natural fit for the hands. You want to talk about weird controllers? Look at the Super Nintendo controller.
Weird.
Yeah,
Look at that.
Traders
Sega
can't even
Genesis.
have a
That's
Christmas
no
Yeah,
good.
but look at all the stupid
Oh,
wait,
yeah.
hold
I
on.
got more than
Make my
three,
time
so
look
that's
loyal.
pretty
And
good.
nobody ever keeps saying it.
Yeah,
Don't listen.
Thanks for checking out our latest video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And thanks to everyone who suggested Scooby Doo Mystery. And keep those other suggestions coming. We will get to them. Also, check us out on Facebook and Twitter for behind the scenes stuff. Later. Huh? More tape, more tape.